Hello, Tim from Fairplay Now on the 21st of December 2022. Yep, it's the old winter solstice day. I always like this day because it means that, well, the shortest day is here, and after today we will be heading back uphill towards lighter evenings, warmer weather, and spring and summer, basically. So it's kind of an important psychological turning point as far as I'm concerned. Winter isn't exactly my favourite time of year, but it's kind of, I suppose, really the spell between the clocks going back in late October to today is the worst of it. And I always think once you get to the winter solstice day, past it, and then kind of out the other side of Christmas and New Year, it's never long, is it, really, until you get to kind of Easter and spring. So that little spell of time always seems to go by very quickly. Anyway, I'm not here today to talk about winter solstices and looking forward to spring. What I am here is I've got a job here I'm working on, but I've literally just around the corner from home, so I popped back home for lunch, and while I was having my sandwich I put on a video, and there's a channel called Irreverend who many people might watch. It's run by a guy called Jamie, who is a Church of England vicar, but he talks about faith, but he also talks about all sorts of current affair items. And he had as an interviewee none other than Andrew Bridgen, the Conservative MP who spoke in the Houses of Parliament last week about harms that has been done by a certain treatment. And this interview, what he says in this interview with Jamie from Irreverend, is just mind-blowing. You've really got to watch it. It is on this platform, believe it or not, as well. Might not be for too much longer, but it is at the moment, so I'll leave a link to it in the description box and the comment section below here. It's only about half an hour, 35 minutes long, but it is well worth a watch, because some of the things that Andrew Bridgen says in this interview is just incredible. Three standout things for me was, first of all, his speech in the Houses of Parliament. Although there was hardly any MPs or anyone listening to him in Parliament, apparently the footage has had, according to Mr. Bridgen himself, has had 2.5 million views, and that figure is only going to go up and up and up, more and more and more. So that has got to be the most watched parliamentary debate in history, I would have thought. Second thing he comes out with in this interview is he said that in 2020, probably December 2020, he was talking to people from the treatment company that starts with PF, and they were saying then that anyone who has the treatment will have to have it every 3 months. Bearing in mind, this is December 2020. This was when they were saying things like, just 2 treatments to freedom. That's all it's going to be. You just go and get your sort of 2 treatments and that'll be it. The lurgy will be a thing of the past, and we can get back to normal and we don't have to worry about anything. Well, clearly not. Clearly a lot of people knew that these treatments were going to have to be taken every 3 months. So that in itself was a mind-blowing revelation. You could argue, of course, that Andrew Bridgen should have been talking about that a lot sooner. But one thing he does admit in this interview is that he should have spoken out sooner. He reckons he should have spoken out a good year before he did. So better late than never. I suppose initially he was just very on board with the treatments and the narrative, well, a lot of the narrative, especially concerning the treatments, I suppose that's the only explanation for it, really. And then the third thing that really caught my attention is he was saying that we are very close to the dam breaking, and the only reason why it's not is because everybody's frightened. Basically everybody knows what's going on. He was saying, he said he's speaking to people in mainstream media, they all know what's going on. Sort of people in the medical profession, they all know what's going on, and the only reason why they're not speaking out is because, well, the mainstream media people fear for their jobs, and I suppose as do the medics. So it is fear that is holding them back. You could argue that that's not great, that's a form of cowardice, but you know, I just hope that it's a case of better late than never, and hopefully a lot of people will start following Andrew Bridgen's lead and start speaking out against all of this stuff. But I do sense the dam is very close to breaking now, and it can't be too much into the new year 2023 before it does break, and it becomes common knowledge amongst pretty much everybody apart from the absolute treatment diehards that these things are just no good whatsoever. And I don't know, me and you, we've been speaking out against this stuff for 2 years, and if we can do it, you know, if we can have the courage and if we can speak out against these things, I don't know why sort of people who know what's going on can't sort of speak out. It's time to do so. If you know anything, you need to come out and you need to speak out, and you need to do it quite quickly, really, as well, because the people who do it quickly, i.e. in the next few weeks, they're going to be on the right side of history, and the ones who don't speak out, really won't be on the right side of history. So as they kind of summed up in this interview, irreverent interview, it is time for a bit of courage. And not only is cowardice contagious, but courage is contagious as well. So if you know anything, if you're in the mainstream, if you're in the medical profession and you know anything, it's, and you're watching me, probably not likely, but if you are, it is time to speak up. So this interview with Andrew Bridgen was just amazing, and it needs to be shared around, I reckon. It doesn't matter how badly you get on with people about certain things to do with the lurgy and the treatments. I'm going to be sharing this with people who I know who don't kind of share my conviction, should I say, because this interview does put it into black and white what is going on, and it's coming from a Conservative MP, and so it is one to share, I reckon. But I think you'll be absolutely blown away by the interview, so I'll let you go and watch that now. And like I say, I'll leave a link to it in the comment section and the description box below, and I'll be back tomorrow. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.